Okay, so I'm back. Luckily, my phone decided that it was going to now change over to a different storage area that I have now. 55:05 minutes. 555, God's grace. So, as I was getting coffee, of course, he was leading me to a certain place. And then he goes, "Oh, didn't you want Burger King? The 2 snack wraps that were showing on TV?" I'm like, "Oh, yes." And he goes, "Okay, you buy one, I'll buy the other." I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." So God paid for my coffee. And as I was leaving, I didn't realize the curb was farther out because I was so excited and I was thanking him and I was glorifying him. And Lucifer took that moment to make me think that I was at the end of the curb. And when I turned, I hit the curb. I ran over the curb is what I did. So my car's a 4-wheel drive, thank God. So it went right over the curb and so my dog has ice that I buy for him every day when I'm in my car. And I had just put ice in his bowl and it melts within seconds. So there was a bowl full of water. Now God had me use the tarp that I was using at the condo to cover the back seat. But I had to remove part of it because when it hits the sun, it gets too hot and then my dog's in a bad position. So I took part of it off and Lucifer took advantage and he dumped the entire bowl, which wasn't a whole, well, it wasn't an entire bowl. It was like a quarter of a bowl. But God had the bowl of food underneath and it caught the water. So it didn't get all over my seat like it has in the past. When you're at the end, when you're about to hit your breakthrough, that is when Lucifer leashes out his way of diminishing what God is doing, to try and take away to distract you from the happiness that you are feeling because things are about to change and they're about to change big time. Okay. So I turned around and I went to Burger King because they're across from each other. From Starbucks is across from now God said, give $1. Sowing a seed into a company that has a spirit that God is trying to fight is because there are children of his in there, in the trenches, fighting. And this little fly, I swear, it's trying to stop me from completing the word. So, God sends his warriors wherever he needs them. Prayer brings him in. He has people, he has children in the thicket of the armed forces. But sometimes we get scared because Lucifer can enlarge himself to the point where he makes himself seem bigger than God. And now I'm going to talk about my dream. So this morning, when God told me to go back to sleep at 8 o'clock and not get up until 9:50, 55, I had a dream, a vision. And there was this man in darkness. And I was in the light. It was bright where I was. And this man kept calling me over. I knew this man. He was familiar to me. Even though I couldn't see who he was, I knew him. I knew his presence. I knew. And he was a bulky man. I mean, he was a large man. He was a scary man. And I could feel in my heart, in my spirit, that I needed to be careful and not be rude or ugly to this person. So I was cordial. I was nice. I was like, oh, I'm busy doing work and blah, blah. And he said, no, I want you to come here. I want to talk to you. And I said, no, I'm so sorry. I've got a lot of work. I got to get this done. It needs to be done today. I'm so sorry. I'll try to finish as soon as I can. And I just kept working. Suddenly, this man was behind me. And he had his hand over my chin, but his other fingers were at my throat. And he was behind me. And I could just feel his hand on my throat. Even though he was holding on to my chin, I could feel his hand on my throat. He wasn't squeezing, but my flesh just flared. It was like, run! And all I could hear was God say, no. And I was like, and don't panic. I'm like, okay. So I stood there. I'm like, and I still kept doing my work, standing up. I don't know how. My arms grew, I guess. Anyway, so I'm standing there and I'm doing my work and I'm doing my work and I'm doing my work. And this man is like, pay attention to me. I said, I can't. I am so sorry. I really need to finish my work. I really need to finish what I'm doing. I can't stop. And he's like, but he couldn't stop me. He could only suggest that I stop. And those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, you'll understand. Okay? And I just kept saying, no, I'm sorry. I can't stop. I've got to keep going. And he said, I need you to stop. And I said, I'm really sorry. I really have to finish this work. I cannot stop. If I stop, it will not get done in time. And it needs to get done in time. And then this man growled, snarled, like a dog, like a bear, when they're irritated and angry because you're in their way, you're preventing them from doing what they want to do. And all of a sudden, I heard whoosh, and the man was gone. And I was like, and God said, finish your work. And I was like, okay. And I went back down. And so, remember yesterday when I said that the condo was dark? Well, I got revelation on that too. Oh my gosh. So, that condo is dark because there is an evil spirit within the company that runs that condo. And that evil spirit is the one that told me that that condo is now booked. And now that individual is going a step further and saying, hey, so back up a little bit, okay? I'm sorry, I'm so excited. In a good way, with a godly way, in a godly way, okay? So please see with your spiritual eyes, hear with your spiritual ears, ask the Holy Spirit to open them and to make you free of the enemy in your head, in your heart. Okay, so when Tara sent me that message telling me that I was showing folks, that I was teaching folks day by day by the walk that I was doing and by providing my testimony, even though that's not all she said a few words, but this is the revelation God gave me on those few words that she said, and him telling me that I was on the path